Traditional sweet recipes from Malta, available online at www.traditionalmaltesweets.com. Traditional sweet recipes, creating a small slice of Malta that feels like home.
Hi, this is Marlene.
And this is Mark, and this is our last episode on Channel 31.
So we thought we'd make it a little bit more special and reminisce about the old times or the year that has been, yeah, Mark?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So maybe best would be to go back to how we actually met.
Yes,
How's that?
which was in 2003. I was working on, it was actually probably the year before that, come to think of it. Working on an exhibition that was happening at the Maltese Embassy, which was
called
The Colours of Malta. And then from that worked into a project that I developed with another photographer called Alan Carville. And we decided to work on something called Malta 24/7, and that's where I first met you.
Because I was a radio journalist on SBS Radio, and I heard about Malta 24/7 and obviously interviewed Mark, and we can say that we struck up a friendship from there.
Yeah, it's been amazing that whole period. You know, we've different times come back to sort of do interviews following up that project, which was basically a 7-day shoot in Malta with 21 photographers from around the world. It was a continuous shoot, and it was the first of its kind to happen in Europe at that time. It was just as Malta was about to enter into the EU, so there's a lot of landmark sort of things happening in Malta at the time. And that led into an exhibition that toured the US, Canberra, Melbourne, and so from time to time, Marlene would just sort of, touch base with me to see what was happening with the project. And it was an exciting time.
Because a lot of people might not know that Mark is actually a photographer by profession. And quite a bit of the photography that we have used throughout our show was by Mark, and that's Mark Avellino Photography. And even in the logo, when the colours come up of the Maltese dicer, that is actually Mark's photo. So Mark, tell us more, because I haven't interviewed you during these 3 seasons of Maltese DownUnder, so it would be good for our audience to know more about you as a photographer.
Well, I'm predominantly these days a commercial photographer. When I started, I had all these ideals of being an exhibiting photographer, and that was very much where I was pushing myself. And then as time has gone on, I've come in and out of the industry a fair bit. And these days I probably focus mainly on doing, portraits of people, shoot a lot of soccer and A-League and NPL, which I'm very well known for. And of course, probably the other major part of my business is weddings. So there's great diversity of shooting and working with people. And one of the great things about photography is that you're constantly sort of working with people, getting inside of their head. And one of the things I love about working with clients is you get to sort of work very closely with people. And very much like this program, you build relationships with people, and sometimes those relationships become quite long-term relationships. Other times they're just a short job. That's it. That's what you do. But being in photography now for over 20 years, you get to see the industry change, and also just to see the styles of photography change. So you kind of adapt with it. And one of the great things about being involved in this program has been the opportunity to just push myself to do different types of portraits with people that in some cases you only have 10 minutes with. We do the interview, and then we just need to do a quick photo, and you try to make the photos interesting where you can. So photography offers that wonderful opportunity to expand and to think differently.
Now, a lot of our viewers have asked us how we actually thought about the program and how we got it to where. And that's quite a story in itself as well. After I was made redundant from SBS Radio about a year ago, I didn't know what to do. And a lot of people told me, you can't just waste your talent, you have to do something. Why don't you start a TV show? And I'm thinking, a TV show? Maybe not. That's too much work. So I was away in America, and I thought more about it, and I got in touch with Mark, sent him an email and said, am I going nuts? What do you think of this whole idea? And Mark said,
No, you're not going nuts at all. In fact,
I'll go nuts. I'll be nuts with you.
I'll be nuts with you because I've been thinking about exactly the same sort of thing. So the universes kind of collided a little bit in a very good way, and we kind of thought, oh, let's sort of see what we can do. And
I came back from America.
Marlene came back, and then I said, oh, have you seen this show called Euromax? Because this is really, for me, where I got the interest. And Euromax is showing on Channel 31. It's a Deutsche Welle program. It's dubbed into English. It's a lifestyle, arts, culture sort of program. And I really liked the sort of things that they were covering involving German culture. And I thought, well, the Maltese diaspora is very diverse.
Yeah.
And with Marlene's amazing contacts, we could perhaps do this somehow.
I'm going to be honest, I never watched Channel 31. I had heard about it, but that was about it. So when I saw the show, I'm thinking, first of all, we wanted to think outside the box because there have been shows about the Maltese in Australia, but we just wanted to think outside that box and bring in that vibrancy that really is the new Maltese community. And watching that show with Mark, we were thinking along the same lines, like, yes, this is so us. And that's how it all started. We then got together a group of Maltese professionals, Maltese Australian professionals, and we thank them from here. We just wanted to bounce off the idea with them about this show, and they were all in agreement that it was a good idea. And hey, that's how Maltese DownUnder started.